Yeah. Sorry, we make your sport exciting, Europe.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's lights out and away we go for episode 130 of the Eaton Asphalt podcast, episode 1 of the 2024 season. And in less than 2 weeks, it's lights out and away we go for our beloved drivers. I couldn't be more excited to get this season started off just so nicely.
I mean, it felt like a long off season. Like a lot of things happened. A lot of storylines came up. There's like enough excitement to where it's like, all right, I feel like we're finally cocooning, like we've been cocooning and now we're going to sprout into the butterfly of the season.
Yeah. Has this been the most active offseason that you can remember?
Definitely feels like it. Most impactful for sure. Like
Yeah.
number of signings, which we'll talk about, but definitely the most like, holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, especially the last couple of weeks, it's been just snowballing. The last month has been something new almost every single day for sure, once a week.
Yeah. No,
I don't,
love
I,
it.
I don't know if this American wave coming in there. Everyone hates these Americans coming in and trying to change the sport. You're keeping it entertaining when there's no one on the grid. I mean, I love it.
Yeah. Sorry, we make your sport exciting, Europe.
All right, well, our episode 1 of the podcast, pretty light, pretty simple. We're just going to talk about our off-season recap. Like we said, ton of stuff to go through, and then just some early season expectations, get people prepared, maybe some, surprises that we have in store in our back pocket, but we'll see. But getting right into our off-season recap. All right, off-season recap. I think we kind of we set this up for it to be probably the least entertaining, and we saved the big juicy bad boys for the end. So we'll kind of get these ones out of the way. So we have Australia being back as the season opener in 2025. So not this year, but next year. This has been, off and on a season opening spot. Bahrain is obviously a very popular season opening spot too, but it's nice to get back down under to start the season off.
Definitely. I was thinking about this and it was just like, for some reason, my brain never changed to like Australia not being the first race of the season, even though it hasn't been like that recently. Dude, do you remember how exciting of a race Australia was with three standing starts, like 2 red flags, even the third standing start was chaos. Like I was down a deep in a Formula 1 rabbit hole on YouTube. And I think I rewatched like the Australian Grand Prix opens or like starts of the race, probably no less than like 2 or 3 times. And man, I was just like having that in my head, it was like, of course this needs to be the first race of the season. Dangle him in
Yeah,
with some chaos. Love it.
starting the season off with a bang. Yeah.
Yeah. And then okay, as far as when we're talking racetracks, Singapore and Barcelona might be out. Might be out. We don't know for sure yet, but might be out. My personal opinion on this, Singapore sucks that it's gone. Awesome night race, great visuals, great photography. Barcelona, I don't know anybody that's going to be mad about Barcelona not being there. That should be the test track. Like that we go and we test.
Yeah.
We get all of our findings, and then we go race and have fun rather than just I feel like it's just one of those tracks that's just been around long enough that people are going to have a hard time. Like F1's going to have a hard time getting rid of it. Cut it out, kill it.
Yeah, it's a helpful track for the teams and the drivers because it kind of covers a lot of different aspects to the car. Not a fun one.
No,
Useful, not funful. So I
it's not
agree.
a little funful.
Yeah, it's just there. It's just hanging in there. So yeah, I'm very okay. Yeah, I mean, like you said, night race, especially being in Singapore, where like that timing, I think actually plays into us Americans, like not a ridiculous time in the night or morning for us. So love a night race, love it not being like 2 a.m. So gonna suck if that actually goes. But speaking of, we got 2 out, we have 2 potentially in. So we have America, baby, Chicago. Chicago GP is rumored. They covered about 5 different names for this potential Chicago Grand Prix track. It looks like it's going to go around Lakeshore Drive, which is pretty sick. The location, kind of the layout seems like it'd be very, very cool. And then Madrid, soccer. So once one Spain out, another Spain in. I think that's fair.
Yeah, life's about balance. You don't want to be a greedy country and have more than one race. You know what I mean?
Do you imagine four or something? Ugh, what an asshole.
For if we had to add in, I think we've had this conversation on the podcast before. If we had to add in an American race, Chicago is like a no-brainer for me. I think the sights and like the just overall vibe of the city is going to be awesome. And like I was thinking, like, where else would I want? I think Chicago definitely in my top three. Maybe San Francisco, like a New York on the track or on the street would be cool. But I think this is like they hit the if they again they have to add in another race. Chicago is a good option.
Yeah, going over like the Hoover Dam or something would be pretty sick.
Ooh,
Something around the Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon was the one we said. I think that one would be top. Dude, imagine where do you sit? Where does
They're
that
just
sit? How do you get there?
Yeah, or they do a man-made like track over part of the Grand Canyon. Electric Factory.
It's into like Mad Max, basically. Yeah.
All right, we need five. All right, just five. We'll cut it off at there. That has to go down. That needs to happen.
Hey, if we're going to keep adding races, we might as well extend the number of races we do in the season, which was another point that was brought up. Talk on the schedule being extended to 30 races. If you consider that F1 has an off season, although it is short, this would be about a race every like what one and a quarter weeks on average. We need breaks in the sport like this. It's not. I mean, obviously the drivers and the teams and the people that actually put it on.
Whatever. Dude.
I'm talking about the fans. I'm talking about the fans who like to have somewhat of a social life on the weekend. We can't do the waking up at 3:30 in the morning, especially for us closer to the west side of the country. We can't do that like every week. We got to draw a line in the sand and say we need our weeks off. We work hard watching the sport.
And I'll just do it because, it's not just us. I'll talk about the drivers and teams. It's a traveling circus every week. Like the amount of time and resources and energy that goes into moving the entire team, all the cars, everything around is crazy. And adding 6 more races, I think it's over the top. And you keep getting different things. Drivers are like, hey, we want less races. Let's bring in some more teams, make it a little bit more competitive, extend the grid. Less races, more money coming in, more teams, less races. We don't need more money on that side. Like balance it out. And F1's like, well, let's try to do both. Actually, let's try to get more races and then eventually get more teams.
Yeah, I just wish they wouldn't bring up. So it was 24 races initially planned, and right, and so they're increasing it by 6, so that's 25% of an increase, right, in the number of races. Maybe don't do that the year after Max Verstappen wins the championship, like at summer break, basically. Like maybe give it a little breathing room after a season of so much domination to where we can be like, okay, yeah, we want more races, not just we want like, more races with the championship already decided.
Yeah, I'm curious what the hey, it's going to be 30 races by 2030. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Hopefully there's not like, hey, 24, we're going to just go straight to 30.
Yeah.
Buckle up, boys. It's like, oh my God. All right. I think last thing on the track, we have Suzuka staying around until 2029. Moving on, 3P power units. This is a new rule change. So most teams, 3 power units per car, increased to 4, which is great. I don't know if we've had too many of those issues. I know that there were some other upgrades or car change issues and penalties that we saw during the year. I don't know about the power units themselves that we saw too many, but I do like not having to see drivers get negatively affected. Carlos Sainz in Las Vegas if it's out of their control.
True. I'm on the other side of the spectrum where I like that added chaos. Again, this might just be recency bias of like, I felt like there were no power unit penalties at all last year. So it was just like, I don't know, like maybe after a year where it was just constant. And again, I mean, maybe I'm just forgetting all of them, but I just feel like there's no real reason to bump it up. And it's nice seeing one of the Bulls or one of the Ferraris or Mercedes have to start like P13 because they qualified third, but they had a different wire on the engine or something like that.
No, I agree with that. Maybe I'm just a little salty. Because we would have been P2, I would say, but fuck me, right?
Let's see, what else do we have on this list that we spackled together? Oh, all right, I missed this. So I'm glad that
Oh, yeah, this is
I'm talking about this one. Nyck Devries having to pay back over 250 euro, which is almost $300,000 of a racing loan, is preposterous. I didn't know that that was a thing. I didn't know that in this sport you could be like, hey, here's money. If you don't do well, we need that money back. If you do so poorly that you get kicked off the team, we want that money back. Makes total sense. I guess from like a finance perspective, strictly like, hey, you're not out there, so we want our money back. Worse than that, though, having to forfeit half of his earnings from AlphaTauri. So they're just like, it's basically you either succeed in this sport or you have a rich dad or you're bankrupt. Like those are the three options.
Yeah, I always try to, once again, kind of put this into other sports perspective. If you got a bonus for signing with a team, they're not going to be like, hey, we're actually going to let you go. About that bonus, by the way, give it back.
Yeah.
This is a wild thing. It's just like, sorry, this is like the power in the employer is never stronger in any sport other than Formula One. Like they have all the power. I know the drivers will sometimes go, oh, like I want to get better team. But like, dude, if you can fire someone and then make them pay you back, that's crazy.
And this is all just because of a drop of the hat that Helmut Marko saw Danny Ricciardo race a couple laps, and he was just like, "Yeah, fuck Nyck Devries. Like, bring
This guy, this
Danny Ricciardo.
rookie, give him time. Yeah, right.
Not at Red Bull."
All right. Some other driver talk about actual drivers on the grid. We have two extensions: Lando Norris extending with McLaren, Charles Leclerc extending with Ferrari. I think both parties very understood and expected that this was going to happen. I think the Lando Norris thing was shortly after. I could get my time of events wrong, but I thought it was what we're going to talk about next. Lewis Hamilton or Leclerc, Lewis, then Norris soon after Lewis signing. So I don't know if they were saying, "Hey, we want you in McLaren. This is like the silver arrows, flashy fun over here. Let's stick to us. We'll sign you long term." Smart play if they did do that, though.
Yeah, I mean, if that's how it went down, I would do the same thing if I were McLaren. Be like, if people are losing Lewis Hamilton somewhere, there's like, yeah, let's clinch into like to our best driver and never let go. Speaking of, I mean, this is kind of the highlight of the offseason right here. Can we talk about it? Are we ready to talk about it?
The colors look. I mean, the amount of times that I've seen now Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari, incredible. But man, it's going to take some time to get used to.
It's going to take a lot of time. Your first reaction as our resident Ferrari fan? You wake up, you see, do you believe it? Do you think you're getting trolled? Like, give me kind of markers.
Yeah, the first couple, because it wasn't any of the official sites. Obviously, it's some semi reputable Formula One Twitter that we follow, things like that, being like, oh, this is like rumor mill. Formula One is an ongoing rumor mill. So like, then I saw a couple more, and all of them started coming out around this a couple hours of each other. And it's like this is too many rumor mills to be going. Something's rolling. And so yeah, it did take me a good half day for me to be like, this seems like it is. And it still took, I don't know, maybe a day or so for anything to become official. But man, I mean, electric. Like I knew it wasn't going to be like with Leclerc signing, but yeah, I don't know if it was going to be like if Lewis signed and then they were like, all right, who's the next driver for the future next to Lewis? I would have been a little worried, be like, oh, is it going to be Sainz or like Leclerc? I want Leclerc very badly. So as long as I knew that I had both of those guys, Leclerc and now Hamilton, awesome. Best of both worlds.
No, I do think reading between the lines, and this is all just like, I just flood my brain with all kinds of propaganda that's just people spouting off stupid takes, but I take it as gospel. Like, I think that this means, and we'll talk about it when we get to see some predictions. I think this means bad things for Mercedes cars. Like, I think there's pretty big potential for this to signify like, hey, the car's not where we want it to be. It's not meeting like certain milestones. Like, it's going to suck in 2024. Who knows about 2025? Like, Lewis, clock's ticking, on his age. Like, let's say he's still got like, he's got, let's say, be generous and say 8 years left. Like, you're going to spend 25% of the time you have left on a car that you are having to build up again. Like it just doesn't really fit to me.
No, I definitely agree with that, and I think that probably had a factor. Uh, I also saw that. I mean, obviously the contract terms. It seemed like about $500 million to Lewis, and they're giving him like an ambassadorship. I got to go down a rabbit hole of what exactly that means. I think he just can fucking hang around the team whenever he wants when he's retired, and they'll pay him. I don't think he get. Well, first of all, he definitely didn't get that type of money, or relatively, from what I've told, even close to the Ferrari cash that they gave up. And they didn't give him an ambassadorship, which I thought that was more surprising than anything. Guy that's been with you for forever with 6 drivers' championships and 7 constructors' championships. You're not going to be like, oh, we're going to let you hang out whenever you want, and we'll pay you like a hefty land ransom. That was a big surprise to me, but I think that, I mean, that offer, and then maybe as well being like, I think Ferrari is going to be a better team. This makes it kind of an easier decision.
I mean, like you think about the people who are the drivers who are talked about as like championship caliber, right? There's not a ton of them. There's probably maybe like 4 or 5, and now you have 2 of them on your same team, like that for 2025. Like Charles Leclerc has always been the kid. Like we're just like, yeah, he's gonna end up winning a championship one day. Lewis winning his 8th championship
In a Ferrari.
in
Oh
a
my
Ferrari,
God, dude.
bring a tear to my eye.
Oh my gosh, dude. I mean, I think Ferrari's, I know it's a huge, hefty contract for them, but I think, I mean, the ROI has got to be still pretty good. Like, we're going to have to give away $500 million for him, but we're going to make so much. The
Yeah,
biggest name and the biggest team in racing.
it's like, yeah, literally the two, like the 2 are gonna make just the most.
Pinnacles. Yeah.
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 Dude, I might change to a Ferrari fan 2025.
Hell yeah, brother. Come on.
We're
Teach
just a
warm.
Ferrari podcast from now on.
Hey, in about 5 months, you want to try kind of kill yourself? Because that's how it feels. You get real excited at the beginning of the season and say, hey, things are going to be different this year. And then you keep seeing strategy mess up. You keep seeing car mess up. You keep seeing things that just never go your way. And you go, not this year, but
Yeah.
next year.
So, I mean, speaking of that, do you think this is the year that Ferrari starts to turn around and starts to be like, hey, we got Lewis coming next year, guys. Like, we have to stop making mistakes.
No, I don't think it's this year. I think it's got to be next year. I'm kind of holding my eggs in one basket and say we need to see a Red Bull downfall, and we got all the makings for it coming up right now. So this is what I'm kind of hoping on,
Let's talk about that Red Bull downfall. An obvious first domino to fall could be Christian Horner, some sexual misconduct dilemma. What was it? What was it? Pictures? Was that what we got? He's taking pictures of his ding dong.
I didn't see enough. I saw it was like to that one lady, and then I think apparently there's other things about he was just being a complete dick to anyone basically that pissed him off. But yeah, I saw it was like sexual exploitative, big word, to a female. So I'm assuming it's got to be a little bit of everything.
I mean, yeah. How does Ginger Spice feel about this? Do you think Ginger Spice knows? She's always known. She's just like, oh, it's like NBA players that go on the road, and it's just like we're on the road like half the year. It's gonna happen.
I mean, unless I could see her also being like, I'm gonna get my nut as well. Yeah,
hell yeah, Ginger. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Hey, you can send weird texts all you want. I'm doing a little bit more, brother. Yeah. I did see something, I think came out today, that Horner was urging Red Bull to clarify the situation in the investigation as soon as possible. So I love how he's being like, hey, let's pick this up. I need to know ASAP whether I'm going to get fired for being a sexual pervert. Like, put the pressure back on Red Bull, dude. They're the problem, not him.
Yeah, you're on my timeline, Red Bull. Christian says
TikTok, or you're about to start getting some pics yourself.
Yeah, dude, that's
You want me to start sending these out to you? She didn't like them. You won't either.
Yeah, she hated them.
She clearly, right?
She blocked me, but
I sent them on so many different numbers just in case she wasn't getting them. Blocked me every time.
Sexual assault is not funny. Don't do it, kids.
Don't, unless you're apparently just the best Formula One team in the world right now.
No, even then, you shouldn't do it. Seriously,
you shouldn't. Anyways, other drama that went on. Obviously, that was kind of our big circled one. It was, Lewis as a driver, incredible. It was Horner as a principal, not incredible. Other things though, our prince, our king, our hero, Gunther Steiner got fired pretty late into the offseason, which was a tough see. Thank you for repping that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what Haas is doing. I don't think Haas knows what Haas is doing. It's just going to be that's the one negative thing that's going on with the US and Formula One. So it just so happens to be the one constructor team. Oh,
Yeah.
also the driver. There's one driver. So anything that's has to do with on track performance, US isn't too good. But when it comes to like stirring pots and adding more races and like building up attendance, where you guys?
Gene Haas, the reason that he gave for firing undoubtedly like the most entertaining person in the Formula One universe. Maybe second place, Daniel Ricciardo. But like in terms of constructors, it's not close. Like it's not even relatively close. You can't just let somebody go because you don't have a lot of money and the team's not doing well because you're investing a lot of money. Gene Haas said, he said, I'm tired of being in last every year. Right. And so we had to make a change. It's like, whoa, sir. P5 in 2018, P8 in 2022, P9 in 2019, P9 in 2022. It's not, he's not that bad. Like it's a bad team. It's a back marker. It's an American team. You don't have the money. You don't have the prowess. You don't have the people. You don't have the drivers. But I just don't like, it's like starting with Gunther and putting in the little Japanese lad as his replacement. You think
Successor.
you can get better than Gunther with that guy? They probably will. But in terms of entertainment, you're crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna say like rule one to be good at Formula One, money. And so like when they were like, "Hey, Gene, you're really tired of your team sucking. You're gonna have to start throwing." And he's like, "No dice. What else?" And they're like, I don't know, like pretty low on this totem pole of ways to improve is probably firing Gunther. He's like, "How much will that cost me?" And they're like, "Probably nothing." He's like, "Done."
Yeah,
Shake it up. I'm expecting things to drastically change. I'm also not going to put any more money than I have been, but things will change because this guy's it's a new guy at the front. They're also probably going to be even losing money because not as many people are going to be interested in Haas because you're losing, like you said, just like a memorable person in Gunther. People are going to be a little upset, maybe start revolting against Haas. It's going to backfire.
yeah. I don't know. I just it's the day after it happened that Gunther was gone. I saw this hat. Um, it was not on sale and it was expensive, but I
I was going
figured
to say, I was like, when you saw that hat, I was like in your closet, like, I didn't know you had a Haas hat. Oh, you just on a
I spent
whim.
too much money on this. I'm
All right.
helping Haas, dude. Haas, if they need money, then I'll help.
Yeah, no, I was gonna give so much money away, but then they fired him. I was like, I'm out.
Uh, dude, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Do
can't
you
help
think
that.
you and do you think like if so? I mean, probably not gonna happen. But like if someone from Europe saw me with a McLaren and a Haas shirt, they're just like these two American idiots.
You got to wear like your Barcelona soccer shorts. Hey, what's up?
With a Real Madrid thing in the
Yeah.
back.
I love just sports, you know?
I love Europe sports. Number one.
Oh, what do you say there, eh? Like, what the fuck? It's
That's
not
enough of that.
European.
All right.
Uh,
Let's wrap up this short episode here with some just quick season predictions. I have some takes that I just want to fire off in case they happen. It's kind of like how how I lost last year's prediction
how
battle.
could I forget? Yeah.
If I get one of these right, it's gonna feel amazing. But first, give me your top one, or I should say top 10, your rankings of the constructors championship at the end of the season. We'll document this. If you're right, we'll absolutely revisit it. If you're wrong, then it never happened. Low stakes.
Yeah, that seems fair. 10 to 1. Are we going 1 to 10?
Give who you pick.
All right. I'm going to go with 10 spot. Our boys, we've been talking about them, Haas. I'm going to go 9, Kick Sauber. Fucking hate that name. Number 8, I'm going to go RB. Also hate that name. 7, Williams. 6, Alpine. 5, Aston Martin. 4, Mercedes. 3, McLaren. 2, Ferrari. 1, Red Bull.
All right. So you put Mercedes at 4. The only thing that I would have changed there is putting Mercedes at 5.
With Aston in 4?
I actually put Alpine in there, but let's
All
keep
right.
Aston. I like your way.
Okay.
Um,
The only
yeah,
thing hard is just like the reason why I had Williams only at 7. I think they could do better. It's You got one driver. There's only so much one driver can do. And that's what I was thinking. If you had another second driver at Aston Martin, I'm I would absolutely have them ahead. But you have two very good drivers at Mercedes, one good, very good driver, Aston. Performs does help, but being a not ass at the sport also helps.
Not Aston.
So there's my 10.
Nice. Love it. All right. My next sector is called Ian's Fun Takes and Predictions. I think Sergio Perez is going to be out before the end of the season.
I would be blown away if he wasn't.
I think Mercedes is going to finish 5. Worst since Lewis has come along. Lewis doesn't have the opportunity. They're not going to tell him stuff that's like developing with the car, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to tell him like, developmental stuff per Martin Brundle from a podcast I listened to. So I think they're like, it's going to be hard for them. And I think they're starting from a bad spot to begin with. Hulkenberg podium, first of his career. I want that. I want to squat on that. No.
Oh no, dude, no. There's no way. There's but that
the
all right.
Against for Hulk.
Hey, he gets a podium. You got to buy one of these Hulkenberg jerseys.
Okay, sold.
All right.
Alonso to Mercedes, which is announced after summer break. Valtteri retirement in Imola, September 1st weekend, right? Stake Sauber goes races at Italy, which is their home race, kind of. And after that, he's out. And then both Ferrari's drivers in the top 4 at the end of the season.
Oh my God. I hope all those happen now. You were nice to me at the very end, and I want to be your friend and say all those are great. I had not as detailed, not as much as you did. I think, and we can work together here. Top 4 of those top 4. In the top 3, I think Lando Norris finishes in top 3.
I like that. I don't think it'll happen. I think Ferrari's gonna. I'm not trying to blow smoke here. Like I think Ferrari, if they caught the attention of Lewis, I feel like Lewis is acting on some good information that like, this team's building something and they are on like an upward trajectory from P3. So I don't know.
I get that with a grain of salt. It's like, hey, do you want to go play for Real Madrid no matter what offseason, or Barcelona, or do you want to play for the Yankees? It doesn't matter if they're like incredible or not. It's also playing for the Yankees. They're going to give you the big contract. And you're like, all right, this is sick. I think there's so much history. I honestly, and I'm not going to try to blow smoke back up your ass, a little ass smoking thing going back and forth. But I think McLaren's going to be incredible. I think both of their drivers are top 6, honestly. I think Piastri is undercover. And I said in here, I said, Lando top 3, but also I could see Oscar being the best of a very stacked driver lineup at McLaren.
Yeah. I mean, who's to say? But I feel like let's just lock it in right now. Red Bull 2 drivers, Ferrari's 2 drivers, McLaren 2 drivers. If that happens, dude, this is going to be a happy eating asphalt. I
would be happy. I'd be surprised if Perez finishes P2 this year.
I would too. As I was saying that, I was like, that doesn't seem.
I'm expecting like Max, 2 Ferraris, 2 McLarens, jumble those 4 up somewhere. Hopefully both Ferraris are top. I was seeing some stuff today and last week. So Mercedes, obviously kind of a question mark. Wolf Toto has had some like interesting comments about it as well. The W15, 2 very interesting like parts of the car. So they just got like FIA had a hearing about they had like a loophole in their front wing. Just got accepted. Apparently it was like everyone was like, this is kind of cheating. They said it was all right. Also, they have like a double suspension in their front arms of the car. So it's like 2 suspension arms in the front of the car. So everyone's like, they're getting extremely innovative and like thinking outside the box, kind of what Red Bull has been doing. Maybe this doesn't help at all, but it is kind of cool to be like, oh, wow, like maybe they are actually trying their best and are going to be competitive.
Yeah. I mean, on the flip side, it could just be like, oh my God, nothing's working. We need to start making
yeah, dude. Who's got a good idea? And they're like, sir, I had a dream. I don't think it's like throw it on the board.
Oh man. All right. Well, hey, we did it. We recapped the offseason and made predictions for the upcoming.
Hammer these upcoming season prediction bets. This is free money.
If you know anything about my predicting skill, then you'll know what to bet.
2024 is a new year, dude. Positivity. You got this.
I'm in. It's a completely different year. All right, everybody. Well, we'll wrap that up. Appreciate you all for listening. And then, man, we got Bahrain in less than 2 weeks, buddy.
Less than
It's
2 weeks.
test week. So next episode is going to be preview for Bahrain, and then the following will be recap of the first race, baby.
Yes, sir. Follow us on TikTok. TikTok's been really picking it up. 2 incredible interns coming in and just really getting the gates off hot. Instagram, Twitter, all the fun stuff. Follow.
Shout out Hannah. Shout out Aaron. See ya, assholes.
See ya, assholes.
Hey, thought you could leave without saying goodbye.
I used to say I lived my life a quarter mile at a time. And I think that's why we were brothers. Because you did too.